Welcome, everyone, to another discussion of The Mandalorian. With me today is Pedro. What's going on, Pedro?
Yo, what's up?
What's going on? So today we will be discussing episode 6 of season 2 Mandalorian, called The Tragedy.
And what a tragedy it was.
The name says it all.
Mm.
What a sad episode. As usual. As usual, ladies and gents, we go straight into it. There is no spoiler. There is not a non-spoiler free portion of this episode. We just go straight into the discussion. We talk about everything and anything. So if you haven't seen the episode, go watch it and come back. If you don't care, stick around. We're gonna get into it. Pedro,
yes.
How did you enjoy The Tragedy?
I loved it, actually. I thought that it gave the fans something that they've been expecting, and we were expecting, because I know there's a lot of Boba Fett going on, and that was something that I thought was going to happen in the first half of the season, and clearly it didn't go that route. So, and it's funny because before this episode, we had mentioned what we thought was going to happen next one, and I thought, it's directed by Robert Rodriguez, so it's probably just going to be filler anyways. And man, I've been wrong every single time this season. Every time I think something's going to happen, it goes the other way. So I can't get a read on how this is going to go. The only thing that we got was the Ahsoka. Everything else, I'm like, fuck it, whatever.
Because it was obvious.
So
it was a low-hanging fruit.
But overall, I really enjoyed this one. It answered a lot of questions that we had, lore-wise. And it got the story going. It showed a bunch of Easter eggs, a bunch of stuff that was Legends that's now canon. So overall, it was a very enjoyable episode. Well, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Ahsoka's probably still my favorite one.
Yeah.
Not probably. Ahsoka's is definitely still my favorite one.
For sure.
But I still enjoyed this one a lot.
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
No, I enjoyed it, man. I liked it. But like I was telling you when we had a brief conversation about it, it just felt very fanfic to me. This is probably like the first episode out of the entire Mandalorian series that felt really fake to me. It felt like just the way it was filmed, the way maybe it was the location, maybe the way how it was framed, the way they were talking. I don't know. It just felt very fanfic to me. It felt like
I think it was the camera work. I think it was the camera work and the place, because it almost looked like the environment looked very Power Rangers.
Yeah, it did. It just essentially felt like a couple of friends doing a fanfic film in like a hill in like a national park or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
I definitely think the environment was the biggest part for that feeling, because you're not wrong in that. You're actually not too wrong about that.
It just didn't feel like how the show has potentially been feeling, and then yes, every episode was filmed by a different person, but they all kind of stuck to the aesthetic. And I think this episode didn't stick to the aesthetic. It just kind of went rogue. And I didn't enjoy that, honestly. It all leads to, it felt very fanfic. It felt very B.
Do you think
very B side.
B movie?
Yeah, very good. B movie. It had like a B movie.
Do you think it's because it's Robert Rodriguez and his
and
his
it definitely
are also that feel?
It definitely is. It has to be because of that. Because everybody else kind of did their own flair, but stuck to the theme, the way the show has been shot. You know how it felt overall, and this episode did not feel that way. So I think Robert Rodriguez essentially just did what he fucking wanted to do and didn't really care about the aesthetic of the show. He just did his thing. I think there's always a positive and negative to that, you know. But I feel like when you're part of a series, you have to stick to the aesthetic. You have to stick to what the show has already established, as in any show.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I remember in season 1, we had a complaint about aesthetic and feel. Remember the Taika episode? I felt that comedy scene was so out of place.
Yeah.
It was so out of place for the rest of the show. It wasn't even like timed right. It just felt out there. So I'm guessing that's kind of what you're thinking about this. Like, there's just something about the feel of it And I kind of get what you're saying because I watched it a second time after you had mentioned that, and I'm like, I can kind of see what you're saying. And to me, the biggest thing was probably the camera work and the environment. There was just something about that made it feel like these guys didn't look like they were all fighting. You know, it was pretty much the action scenes where it's like the never-ending horde of stormtroopers that are missing every shot, right? And then you get these badasses that are killing them all in one hit. And then this sniper chick, Fennec Shand, aka Mulan, she's there completely in the middle, surrounded by them. She's dodging all their shots, and then she's killing them. And then there's that part where Mando goes in to save her, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I got my my armor."
Yeah.
And that's when he starts getting hit constantly, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, is Beskar really like blaster magnet or what?" Because suddenly
they're hitting every shot.
You miss every shot until Mando comes in, and it's like pew pew pew, and I'm like, that part I caught, and that part did feel cheesy. Where he's like, "I got your back," you know, and then ting 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 ting. I'm like, okay. It felt off, but it didn't take me out of it fully. You know, there was still plenty in there to make me go, you know, this is still a good episode overall. But I will say I agree with you. It felt different.
Yeah, it took me out of it. Honestly, I was just watching. I'm like, man, this doesn't feel right, and it took me out of the episode and everything that was happening, especially with the Baby Yoda part, because him essentially connecting to the Force is huge. And even that felt fake to me. It was just kind of like, man, this doesn't. It just didn't feel right, dude. This whole thing just felt very off, man. And I didn't enjoy it. I don't get me wrong. I liked it. It was a good episode. Like the everything that was happening was good, but just the overall feeling of the episode just,
you know what,
left me off.
It hit me while I was watching it. I looked at it and I'm like, this looked like an episode made by CW.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, essentially. Yeah, that's how I kind of felt like.
I was like, I feel like I'm watching Legends of Tomorrow or something. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, like it shouldn't feel that way, dude. You know, because we've had what 17 chapters, 16 chapters of this, or something like that, and now it feels weird. I don't know. Yeah. Even with the Clone War people coming in, it didn't feel weird. So it's kind of like
no, it didn't.
I don't know, man. It just felt very off to me.
Yeah. The only episode I could probably think of that I was like, oh, this is pure fan fiction-y from the first season was the Dave Filoni episode. It's like, oh, I'm on Tatooine, and this is where this chick comes in.
Yeah.
The sniper. And now we know. So all of that makes sense now. That episode, the boots that came at the end of the episode, everyone was like, oh, it's Boba. And I'm like, it's not Boba. Why would they introduce him that way? That's kind of silly. But then I found out, well, yeah, that's exactly what you did.
Yeah.
That was Boba. And I can't remember if it was you or Orlando or someone. Someone mentioned, oh, she's still alive. And I'm like, no, she's not fucking alive. She got shot.
Me. I was about to mention that right now. I'm like, she's alive. And all of you are like, nah, man, she's dead. You're crazy. I'm like, no, dude, she's alive. Yeah. There's no reason why they will linger on her if it didn't mean something. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. You caught it.
Yeah. Camera work, man. You got to pay attention to those moves, man.
Yeah. Well, when I saw the camera work, I kind of thought he was just gonna loot her, or maybe he's like related to her, and then he'll be like, oh, you killed my sister, prepare to die. I don't know, something. Clearly there was a lingering for that. I didn't think the lingering was, I'm gonna turn this chick into a robot.
Yeah.
He gave her some droid guts, and she's good to go.
Yeah, good to go.
Now, let's rewind a little bit to the beginning of the episode, because I actually made notes. So,
oh my god, you look at you, man. You're on top of it today.
I made some notes. So, starting off the episode, I thought it was pretty funny that he was full blown in his dad mode. Yeah. And he was going, Grogu. And then when Grogu reacts, he kind of goes, that is your name. Kind of like when you call a dog. You're like, hey, boy. And when they look, you're like, oh, you looked. Oh, so good. Good boy.
He knows his name.
Yeah, exactly. And then he does it again. And then he's going he's essentially playing like fetch with him. He does the whole, oh, give me that ball. All right, get it. And then when he gets it, he's like, oh, good boy, So I'm like, it's funny. It's like a combo between dad mode and like good dog. So,
yeah, essentially.
Yeah. And then they settle down on it. They settle down on the planet, and then you see Slave One. Now, what were you thinking when you saw Slave One? Did you think this is really Boba? This is it?
Yeah, for sure. It's
Boba's
for
some
ship,
reason.
dude. So I'm like, oh, so Boba's gonna play into it. In my head, I'm just like, oh, he's gonna try to kidnap the kid. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
When I saw the ship,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, he took the bounty for him.
I saw the ship, and I'm like, no, he's stuck on Tatooine. He doesn't have anything. He lost his ship. He lost his armor. That's someone else that stole his ship as well. And then he'll come back later. So I thought it was gonna be someone else. I don't know. And then when I saw it was Boba, I'm like, oh fuck, it is Boba. So. It caught me by surprise. I know it was an obvious thing, but even that obvious thing, I thought, this show has given me nothing that I was expecting, so why am I going to expect that now?
For me, I felt like, I think Bubba stayed there because everyone thinks he's dead. So what better place to hide than the place people think you're dead in? So,
I actually don't even think it was hiding. I think it was really just him legitimately looking for his armor. And the armor happened to be on the other side of Tatooine. Remember, that's what that town was.
Yeah.
So it was far away from him. So I guess it was really just him looking for it. Now, how he found out, hey, you got the armor from this guy and I'm coming to get it back, I don't know. But whatever.
But that guy had the armor for a while.
He did.
So it's kind of like, if anything.
Yeah, I guess he just found out.
Regardless, who cares, man? The plot holes, you can always find a plot hole in something.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so when I saw the ship, I automatically thought it was him. I'm just like, oh shit! So there's gonna be a Mando to Mando fight here, and Boba's gonna take the child. That's where my head was going at. I didn't think he was gonna join him. I didn't think, I didn't think he was gonna be like, hey, let's do a trade for the armor and your protection. I didn't think that was gonna happen.
Yeah, because you were thinking Boba's a man looking after just money, and who has a higher bounty than the kid. So he's gonna do his job, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
But
that's what I thought.
So something I didn't catch the first time is when he meets Boba and he asks him, "Are you a Mandalorian?" And his answer was, "I'm just a simple man making his way through the galaxy, like my father before me." So there's a couple references there. So the first line, "I'm a simple man making his way in the galaxy," is a reference to when Django said that in Episode 2 when Obi-Wan asks him.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. I had to read about that. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, because the prequels are a little fuzzy. They're not.
Yeah. I saw a tweet about it. I saw a tweet of the pictures. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, this is cool.
So the one that I did catch was like my father before me. I'm like, that's the Luke reference to when he says about I'm a Jedi Knight like my father before me. Something I'm paraphrasing now. But, so I'm like, okay, I caught that one. So, but overall, I think this episode finally redeemed Boba to me because anyone that knows me, and I know Armando knows, that I always thought Boba was one of the worst characters in Star Wars history. Not necessarily because maybe he really is the worst, because I know there's like Jar Jar that's worse, but just the fact that he had such a fandom behind him for no reason. He just had a nice armor, and everyone was like, yes, this is the greatest character ever. I'm like, I mean, he looks really cool, but so did Phasma, and nothing happened. So
they ruined her.
Yeah. But this episode, this show, has been redeeming a lot of things about Star Wars lately, and I think they redeemed Boba in my eyes, because I thought Boba was absolutely useless. You get your ass whooped by a blind Han Solo and fall into a sand vagina, and that's the end of your career? Cool. You're not cool at all. So,
yeah.
This redeemed it, and one of the big reveals for this is that he actually shows off the code in his armor, proving that it belongs to him, and also proving something really big, that he is a Mandalorian technically. I thought that was super cool, because in Clone Wars, also by Dave Filoni, they mentioned that Django wasn't a true Mandalorian and stole the armor. That was what the quote-unquote true Mandalorians thought, which are the ones that were part of Satine's side. The pacifist Mandalorians believe that.
Yeah.
And now it makes total sense, because the ones that take the foundlings, they're the more hardcore. They're the more OG ones. So technically, they were the side that hate the pacifists. So it all makes sense that Django was a foundling, And it also makes sense of why he would want a clone that was unaltered for himself. So he can also have his own foundling to pass it down. So there's just so much involved there. Like, it wasn't, they didn't have to hold your hand about it, but you start putting things together and you're like, there's so much character development for Boba right now in just these couple sentences. It's crazy.
And it's amazing. And on top of that, the other part of Boba, Django's the person who found him, which was a legend thing.
Yes. So I actually wrote it down. Someone translated the coding, the galactic basic speak that's on his wrist when he's talking about it. And it's weird because it's written vertically, and you read up to down. So the thing was, he was scrolling through it so you couldn't read the bottom part. But it does say foundling took into the year of, and then it says Concord Dawn, which Concord Dawn is one of the Mandalorian planets in their system that's absolutely destroyed because of war, and it's a big part of the Rebels show. And then you had Mentor Jast, and it's cut off. So what Armando just mentioned was that there's a Legends character called Jaster Muriel that was a Mandalorian, and in the comics, which I actually read the comics just to get some backstory, and he pretty much was a Mandalorian that was part of the OGs, and he was at war with Death Watch, which was the OGs that are from another side, a little too fucking crazy, more terrorist type. So they went to war, and obviously this legend story isn't canon because they were fighting Death Watch and they fought Vizsla, and he gets killed. But pretty much he, in that entire miniseries, he adopts Jango Fett, who was just a farmer in that town. And he brings him in because his parents died, and then they get revenge together and so on. So they kind of canonized that story in a way. At least the part where Jaster does bring in Jango to become a Mandalorian. I think that's super cool that he's slowly, Dave Filoni is slowly canonizing this.
Yeah, he slowly, he what he always does, he pulls the best from everything, and or he'll pull just some characters and stuff like that, which is amazing. He is single-handedly canonizing a big part of Star Wars that people enjoyed, that got thrown away by Disney.
That's the biggest part. A lot of people loved it. I mean, it was decades and decades of legend stories, and tons of people put their hands in it, and there were really good stories, really good. There was tons of bad shit there, of course, because everyone had their hands.
So bad.
There were too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But what Filoni, Favreau, Mando, the show is doing is they're kind of dipping in and checking out, pulling out the good shit and whatnot. So I think that's the best thing they could ever do, because wiping the slate too clean also throws it off. Obviously, the sequel trilogy kind of did that. So
no, it was terrible.
Yeah,
terrible,
you try so hard to forget about what worked that you're kind of like, oh no, we got to do a total 180 of this, and it's like, it could work, but it didn't in this case. It was a bad bet.
Obviously, yeah.
But this bet's working out.
Yeah, so that whole scene was cool. What I did kind of find interesting was that force field that was on Yoda, that was stopping Mando from getting in. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Yeah, from Grogu. I never really seen that before. Something that strong that was protecting someone who connected to the Force.
You did. Yes, you did. Kanan Jarrus in Rebels, he does it to stop the explosion.
Oh yeah, that's right. That saves everybody, and he dies in the process.
So that's what it is. It's a force field. So I kind of think that was a way of him meditating. I mean, either whether it was on purpose or subconsciously. It was like
subconsciously for sure.
I'm meditating, and this is like a vulnerable moment for me. So let me put up a force field so no one can fuck with me. Subconsciously, obviously, like you're saying, because he's just a child, even though he's 50 years old. But yeah, so that's what I took it as. I took it as, okay, here we go. No one can mess with me now because I'm in my happy place trying to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but when I saw that, I'm like, that's what Kanan Jarrus did.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. I did not remember that. Which is interesting now because he was there for a while, so he must have
Yes.
connected with somebody.
Right.
You know,
He must have.
at this
Now
point he did.
who knows? It's probably gonna be a end of the season post credit, you know, type of moment. And let's see who it is. But
Maybe, or maybe it's a season 3 problem.
mhm.
Oh
uh
man.
a couple more lore things that I thought was pretty interesting was that when he was going back to talking about his father Django and the whole code or whatever, he said that my father Django fought in the Mandalorian Civil Wars. Now, if he's talking about Civil Wars before that, that's the one that was in the Legends comic, which was when they fought Death Watch. It was like the traditionalists, which end up becoming the ones that turn into the ones that got Mando, Din, against Death Watch, if they're going that route. So either they fought against them or they're the ones that fought against Satine. So he clearly fought in those wars with, hardcore Mandos against the pacifist ones or something. So that's kind of interesting that they put him in there, at least canon-wise. So I'd like to see if there are any future books or comics that kind of throw it in and explain it a little more, or maybe even through flashbacks.
Yeah, hopefully.
And another big thing was the Dark Troopers showed up, and they were indeed full robots, like they were in the video game.
Shit.
Which I thought was very interesting. I didn't think they were going to go that route. I thought they were going to go with like some soldiers that are souped up with some force abilities later on or something. But no, they went the full-blown robot mode, which kind of makes sense because I think the Death Troopers in Rogue One was their version of doing Dark Troopers without going full robotic.
Yeah.
Because they were soldiers that had that weird robotic radio voice.
Yeah. It was probably, the idea, the first phase of the idea.
Yeah. And then they were like, fuck it, let's go full-blown on this. Now, the reason why I think it's interesting is for
or you know what, it could have been also a Grievous thing.
Yeah.
That they're humans, but they got so mutated they're technically robots. Could be.
It could be. I don't think they're going that route. I think they're going full blown like separatists. Prequels, full blown droids. They're just making them cool and not Roger type shit. So. Since the villain is clearly like Brains and Dr. Frankenstein-ish, I'm pretty sure that's
definitely
where he's gonna say he got the idea from. The fact that he can create soldiers that will follow all of his orders, and also I was kind of thinking they won't be able to be mind controlled by the Force, so there's that too. You can't do the whole these aren't the droids you're looking for type shit. if Ahsoka ever runs into them, which maybe
it could happen. Yeah. I did like Grogu doing the force choke when he was captured. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. I really like that scene. He was just fucking shit up, and it's also what you had mentioned before that maybe all of these experiences are slowly turning him into like a dark Grogu without realizing it because
it's too much darkness. He's gone through much shit, especially when
so
Ahsoka mentioned last episode that he's seen through too much,
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely has some darkness in him, but again, it's just like I told you about, the thing about Ezra, if it wasn't for Kanan, he would have been dark too. Yeah. All Grogu needs is somebody to guide his emotions into a more positive thing, but it's like, it's one of those things where, like Ahsoka says, better for him to forget his powers if he's not gonna ever get trained and fall through the cracks or whatever, or get someone who could properly train him and his emotions to be able to deal with it, and not use it for evil. Which I don't think he will turn evil, because I think we would have seen him. I think the good Jedi's try to hide away while any negative Force users try to uprise, So I don't think that Grogu would turn, to be honest with you. But it could happen.
I don't think so either. I mean, I've been wrong about everything this season so far, but no, I don't think it'll go that route. There was there was one part of the episode that did seem fan fiction-y, and that is kind of the end of this whole thing with Boba, Mando, and Fennec. Is that, you know, the kid gets taken, and they're all working together to go get the kid back, and it's like, wait, why do you care? Well, why is everyone so involved? And then it's like, well, we finished our transaction. You know, you got the armor, so why are you still here? And then he goes, well, part of the transaction was the kid will be safe, and he's not safe, so I'm a man of my word. I'm just like, really? Is that, but because you kept him safe, so technically, yeah, you're a man of your word still, but just because another guy got involved, I don't know. It just felt so like, but I know they're trying to set him up as a Mandalorian with a code.
Yeah.
But and since we got no character development from him before, I guess I had a certain idea of Boba
Just transaction.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, just transaction. I don't give a fuck. That seeing this seems fan fiction-y to me. But at the end of the day, there was no character development, so I guess you could add whatever you want.
Well, I mean, the only character development you ever had from him was in Clone Wars.
Exactly what I was gonna say. When he was a kid, and when he was a kid, he was very transactional, you know. But time has passed. Shit's happened. So
he almost died.
Maybe this can be a character. Yeah. That could be another thing. So it just felt off to me, but if they build into it a little bit more, give him more character development, add more moments, then maybe it'll grow on me. But it felt very like, this is a little too heroic for what I felt Boba should be. But yeah.
The only part that frustrated me is that he never got his jetpack back. So it's kind of like, man, if you would have had your jetpack, if you would have ran to your jetpack, put it on, you could have saved the child. So like, it's one of those things where, why would you be running up a mountain when you could have just run to your backpack, strapped it on, and, you know, shot up? I mean, you know,
yeah. What potatoes.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they had him take it off for that reason, to be like, oh, why wouldn't he just fly to the kid? At one point, let's tell him to take the jetpack off, you know, as they're writing it, the script. Yeah. But there should have also been a moment where it's like, let's have a stormtrooper shoot, and, you know, they suck, they miss, they shoot the jetpack, and then there you go, and then maybe have him run, grab it, and then it doesn't work.
yeah.
Obviously,
like that,
obviously, this is just nitpicking, but I did notice an article. See, I didn't even realize the whole jetpack thing, but there was an article saying, "What about the jetpack?" And I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He could have easily ran to it. Like why would you run up a mountain? You know you're not gonna make it. So it's kind of like
right there.
You could have gotten your jetpack and jetted back. I think it would have been more exciting seeing Mando strapping on his jetpack and shooting up and not be able to reach, and then kind of he falls off or something like that. You know,
or maybe it did get shot. And then it malfunctions right when he's there about to reach or something.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, some shit like that.
You're right. That would have been a good...
That sequence would have been like, oh shit, a sequence. Rather than him... You know you're not going to make it because he was going so slow for some reason. He was just going, and then, you know, these guys swoop down. I don't know. It was just... It just felt... It's like I always told you, it was drama for drama's sake. The whole, shooting back and forth. And it's kind of like, dude... Make it cooler. Like, he could have just strapped the jetpack and flown and, you know, try to capture them with missing it. I think it would have made
I'd like to say the reason why it feels so off is Robert Rodriguez's fault. I'd like to say that, but who knows?
I'm pretty sure it has to be, dude. I think he was the type of person who's kind of like, I'm just gonna do what I want. I don't care what you guys were doing before. I'm gonna do this way, you know, because I think it'll be better for the show.
It did feel very B movie though. The more I think about it,
but you know, whatever. Overall, this episode was very important. You know, it gave us more history about Boba, whatever you want to call him. It gave us a lot of history from him. The child connected to somebody, which is important, because we'll probably see that, you know, either at the end of this season or next season, and we saw, you know, those dark troopers, pretty cool, and then you saw Grogu force choking motherfuckers, and that was also cool.
Just moving shit around and yeah.
This is gonna be important because the next episode is gonna be a setup to the rescue.
To the finale. Yeah.
So the finale is gonna be a rescue.
So the way it ended was he goes back to Cara Dune and says, "Hey, I need you to help me break out this guy." And then you saw it's fucking Bill Burr. Why would they want Bill Burr? I have no idea, but clearly he's gonna be part of it. Clearly he's gonna do his little like Mando type jokes, and we'll see.
Because he said he needed a tracker. So what was he that good of a tracker? I don't remember that episode that he was in.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that either. Either they're using him for his tracking skills, which I don't remember, or maybe he just has intel on Empire shit. Because I know he said that he's a sniper. Maybe he was a sniper for the Empire and we didn't remember that. I don't know.
And also the other thing, which was important, is that now she is part of the New Republic.
Oh, yes. You're right. I thought they were going to save that for some type of spin-off or something. But yep, immediately
she went legit.
Like, yep. She went legit. So let's see how that goes. I don't think that'll have too many like long-term implications. I think that's just kind of like, all right, let's set her up for some type of spin-off in the future. And then if we ever need her for Mando, she just pops up like she's been popping up here. Again, I've been wrong plenty of times, but that's kind of my thinking. Yeah. So.
No, for sure. It's very interesting.
So the next episode is going to be written and directed by Rick Fuki. I'm going to butcher that last name.
I think it's Fumiyuka. I think so.
Hold on. Let me not butcher that. Famuyiwa. Rick Famuyiwa. So he's gonna direct, and I mean it's written by him, and they said he was directing one. So obviously
that's
he's
exciting.
Directing it
because his last episode I don't think was written by him. It was just directed.
Right. Now the last episode that he did was the Prison Break episode, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Prisoner. Yeah. Oh, he did a lot. He did The Child. He wrote and directed Chapter 6, The Prisoner.
Whoa, really?
And and he only directed Chapter 2, The Child. And Chapter 2 was one of my favorites. That was the one with the Jawas, and he had to get the egg. That was a good episode. He directed. But he wrote the Prison Break one. So he's bringing his character back. He's bringing back Bill Burr, a character that he wrote. So he's handling that. So that must have been something where it's like, hey, what do you want to do for episode? I want to bring back one of the guys I brought in. And Jon Favreau was like, all right, man, I'll tee it up and set it up for you for the next episode.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know he wrote that Prison Break episode.
Me neither. I just found out right now. But it says they're writer and director of Chapter 6, The Prisoner, and Chapter 15, which is the next one. But we don't know the name of that one yet. Nice.
Interesting. Well, that's going to be good.
His last one was great. This one, I'm sure it'll be great too. And it'll set up for the finale. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Any last thoughts?
I think... No. I'm just excited to see either... more Mandalorians whooping Dark Trooper ass, or Ahsoka popping out and kicking some Dark Trooper ass. I kind of want to see more of like slicing up droids. Give me some prequel vibes.
I don't think we're gonna see her anymore. I think we're gonna see Bo-Katan again, because Bo-Katan is after him. So I think
after the sword.
Yeah. So I think Mando will know that. And he's like, oh hey, I know where this guy's gonna be. I need your help.
Could be.
So
definitely, because she's like, I'm looking for the dark saber. Yeah. Huh.
So I think he's coming back.
We'll see.
Because who else are you gonna use to help you break in and save the child? Than Bo-Katan. But the curious thing is, I don't feel that this would be the end of Moff Gideon.
No,
it can't be. It's too short. I think next season will probably be his demise. I think this episode he'll just get away. He'll be like, "Next time, Rangers," some shit like that. Whatever.
He'll just twirl his mustache and be like,
yeah. So next time,
I agree, and also I know for a fact because he signed on for the next season. But that could have been a flashback, technically. I guess
could be, but I don't think so.
But he 100% signed on for the next season, so he's definitely still in it.
Yeah. His wrap up will be next season for sure.
Maybe. I have no idea. They could just go the whole whatchamacallit. I was just saying this reference the other day. The whole Airbender route where you have like that villain that you're trying to work your way to the whole time, and then you keep getting close but not there. You know, kind of Aku Samurai Jack vibe. They could go that route and just keep throwing mini bosses at him, and then they could and have him go till season 4 if they wanted to. We'll see.
Yeah, I there's one thing I know for sure is that this show needs to end. I don't want it to keep going too long, and our last is welcome.
Yeah,
I think 3 seasons would be great.
It could be the reason of why. I think it's up to 4 seasons actually that they have written, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that's the. I think you're right. They do see an ending in mind, and that's why they want to do the spinoff so badly. Because when this one finishes, people still get their Star Wars fix with another show. Sense. It's like, oh no, we're done with Mando. Now what? Well, let's go watch Ahsoka kick ass, or let's go watch this prequel that everyone just said got greenlit. So I'm thinking that's a Boba show I have no fucking idea. But I just saw that headline right before this episode started. Well, right before we started recording, so I didn't really hear about it too much. I just saw the headline. So I'll read up a little bit more about that soon.
I've been seeing that, but some part of me doesn't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, but they said officially announced. That's strange. Oh, but you know what? We'll find out on the Disney thing. Thursday.
Tomorrow.
Because we're recording this on Wednesday. We'll be releasing it on Thursday. But yeah, Disney will be doing
on Thursday, December 10th. For our presentation, which apparently they're going to be dropping a shit ton of news.
I'm excited. What time is that supposed to start? Because I want to check that out.
Yeah, they're supposed to be dropping a lot of information about the verticals. So it's going to be good. I hope
they put it live on YouTube. That'd be nice.
Damn, I don't think so. I think we're just going to get I don't think so.
You think it's internal and we're just getting the press?
For sure.
Highlights?
For sure. I think so. But who knows, man? Maybe they want so much shit, so much hype that they probably will do it online. But let's see what happens, man. I'm gonna look into it and check it out.
I'll keep an eye out as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this episode, this discussion about Season 2, Episode 6, The Tragedy of the Mandalorian. Let us know your thoughts. Who did Grogu talk to? Was it a fanfic episode to you too? Till next time.
Bye-bye.